Hello, Daz Studio patrons. This is Not From This World, and I want to welcome you back to my tutorial series. Now, today I want to show you another prop from the same vendor that makes our Golden Palace gens. And I mentioned this in my Golden Palace video, but I want to kind of focus today's video on our Lickalicious tongue. Now, you can get the Lickalicious tongue from our favorite website, and it's going to be a GeoShell tongue addition that gets added onto our character. And the reason why I want to show you this is because I was messing around with Milica, and I made a picture, as you can see, of her about to eat a cherry. And this is kind of a sensual picture, but we can enhance this picture and make it even better, adding a tongue. Now, if I go back to my scene, I'm going to kind of zoom in here and show you the default tongue that comes with Genesis 8. Now, we can select her tongue within her mouth, and the tongue that comes with Genesis 8 has 4 bones to it, and so we can bend it, we could make it longer and that kind of thing. So I can kind of stick it out, and we can manipulate Milica's tongue by kind of moving it up and down, and we can kind of bring it out of her mouth a little bit. So you can see I'm kind of messing with her tongue with the first bone here. So our second bone, we can bend it up and down. So you can probably get a nice effect with her regular tongue. But I do want to show you Lickalicious because it is going to be a little bit easier perhaps to manipulate. So I'm going to default her normal tongue back to its spot, and we're going to go to my Genesis 8 character, and we're going to add in this Lickalicious tongue. So Lickalicious is very similar to Golden Palace. You have to purchase it. It's the same vendor that makes our Genesis 8, like I mentioned. And if you notice, there's a tutorial that comes in with it. There's a hint here that just says to click on it first. It says to select your Genesis 8 female, load the Lickalicious full setup, load the material copy script. So let's do that. So here we've got the full setup. I'm just going to make sure that all of Milica is selected, and we're just going to hit full setup, and that added her tongue. Then we can go to material copy, and we shade the copy. Now, we may have the same problem that I had in my Golden Palace tutorial. So if you have Golden Palace added to your character, which it looks like I don't on this character, but if you do, you may have to remember that shell fix, and that'll get your GeoShell correct. But I'm going to kind of tilt this picture so I can zoom in. And now we can select the Lickalicious tongue. And what I've noticed is under the Lickalicious tongue, we have various assets that you can buy. There are things like lollipops and piercings, shapes. So we can change the shape of her tongue if we want to make her an alien or something, or if we just want a more rounded tongue. The 0 shape is usually what I just keep it at. And then there's other assets that we can use where we can make expressions, and there are some poses. So for example, I could select different expressions and add that tongue in. So if I select the tongue, you can see now her tongue is sticking out. And this is a little bit tricky, kind of like our GeoShells just look somewhat transparent. When I go to iRay, it shouldn't really look black like that. Let's see what it looks like under iRay. So you can see that almost is like the perfect thing that I want. I'm going to try and keep this in iRay, and we're going to mess with the Lickalicious tongue. So once I have Lickalicious in there, I can go to the parameters tab, and we have some adjustments. So I can adjust the length, so I can shorten this up, I can make it longer, and change its position. So it says like pancake, shape pointy, width we can make wider, narrower, that kind of thing. And then there are pose presets. So the pose presets are pretty handy because you can bend all, go side to side. Let me try and knock this out of iRay. We'll go back to texture just so I can kind of show you a little bit faster. So you can see like the way that I have this cherry, she's actually not touching it with her tongue. So we can change the tongue and bend the whole thing if we want to. Now, Lickalicious tongue also has bones. So if I select a part of the tongue, instead of moving the whole thing, see now I can move just a certain area of the tongue. And that kind of helps us adjust. Now remember, when we are posing, it's the illusion that everything is happening the way that you want it. So her tongue is actually not touching the cherry, but the position that I'm going to put her in, it's going to look like it is. So I'm going to move this around. I also want to just click out. I like her mouth a little bit more open perhaps. And so I can kind of open her mouth a little bit more, and then that kind of makes the tongue look a little more real. And so I can just click on different parts of Lickalicious, and this is just a cool asset. I have her licking a cherry. You know, if you have more provocative scenes, you can have her licking whatever you want, and it works out really well. So this is a cool asset, and I highly recommend it if you want to add more realism to your character. It really does a great job. It's a little bit quirky, I've noticed. You've got to just get used to like clicking on the tongue itself like this, rather than trying to work out of the parameters tab. Lickalicious has 7 bones in it compared to the 4 that her normal tongue has. Plus we can twist it and things like that. And there's some really crazy poses we can make and things like that with it. But, you know, if we just set up the basic Lickalicious, it really works great. And what's cool is, often when I'm doing this, if I don't want her to have her tongue out for a particular picture, I can just hide Lickalicious, of course. And so I'll hide the Lickalicious when I am posing her with her mouth closed and things. And then when I want her mouth open again, we can make it visible. So Lickalicious is pretty cool. Check out all of the different products that come with it. We have wet geometry, for example, so we can add another shell. So it says here that if we want to add the wet geometry cell, we can add the wet tongue shell and then add the asset that we want. So you can play with that. There's a version of Lickalicious for Genesis 8.1, but I did check the website and I don't believe there is a Lickalicious product for Genesis 9. If you know of one, let me know, but I went on to our favorite site and I did a search for it for Genesis 9, and it doesn't seem to have a product for Genesis 9. So again, just maybe a reason to keep using Genesis 8. Genesis 9's tongue, I'm not familiar with what the default is like. It may just be better, and so the vendor may have decided not to make this product for Genesis 9. I'm not sure, but you can check it out and let me know. So I have purchased a few add-ons like the piercings here. And so the piercings, all you have to do, it says, is just select the Lickalicious tongue in the scene and then load the piercing. So that's pretty simple. We just select that, and then let's try like a little ring here. Oh man. So Milika's getting a little bit frisky here. So you can see we added this. Let's go into iRay and check it out. Let's look at what we have here. All right, so you can see how we've added a little bit more dimension to our picture with this Lickalicious. So I think this is about going to cover it. I'm going to get this ready for a render. And if you have a particular asset or product that you like, let me know and I can do a review on it. I in no way endorse any product. I'm just kind of showing you how they work, and I am showing you ones that I like. I do that because they're the ones I use all the time. So if you have a product you think I should try out, let me know. This is not an endorsement for the vendor or anything like that. I'm just kind of showing you the stuff that I use. Let me know what you think. I'm going to render this up as a nice thumbnail. And until next time, have a wonderful day.